the ones, Cynthia, who will be the number one quarterback?
I'm looking at Joe Burrow, a guy who has quietly been atop the league in terms of statistics. And no, statistics aren't for losers. Maybe they are, but who cares? I think this opportunity against Baltimore is really interesting because I do think they'll be playing from behind, which dictates more passes, which dictates an opportunity for that connection right there, the one to Jamar Chase. I think it's an interesting version of this Baltimore Ravens defense that's allowed the fourth most passing yards this season for what the Bengals like to do.
Well, I'm going to go with Jordan Love. And I was going to say all you need is love, except the Packers have lost the 2 games that he started and won the 2 games with Malik Willis. So what do I know? But anyway, I can tell you that Jordan Love leads all quarterbacks in fantasy points per game, just over 24. I know he's only played 2 games. That's fine. We're still going to call it anyway. Going back to last year, though, 8 straight games with multiple passing touchdowns. That includes the Packers' playoff games last season. Going against the Rams defense that has been incredibly vulnerable, giving up 8 touchdown passes, just 1 interception, 9 air yards per attempt. So Jordan Love looks like he's back. He's going to start moving the ball again. And the upside is he's also getting more of the Packers receivers involved, which is something we couldn't really rely on the last couple of weeks with Malik Willis.
Let's go over to the running backs, and I will take as Week 4's RB1, Travis Etienne, who has scored 21 or more points in each of his last 2 games against the Colts. And despite increasing volume for Tank Bigsby, he's got more than double the opportunities this season. I like the Jags also in a bounce-back game for the second straight week, a divisional opponent.
Ooh, that's interesting, but I think this divisional opponent's even more interesting for fantasy points, which is Jordan Mason against Arizona. I think the game script will be very run-heavy. It almost always is with the Niners. However, Jordan Mason specifically is really good at making guys miss, and the Arizona team has not done a great job of wrapping up rushers. This is a team that's allowed 8 rushing touchdowns this season, which is tied for the most, and they've allowed second most rushing attempts to the running back position this season.
Let's go to the wide receiver one, Marcus. Who you got?
Well, we're going to stay in San Francisco. We're going to go with Brandon Aiyuk. And I know that a lot of Brandon Aiyuk managers are frustrated. He's yet to have 50 receiving yards in a game this season. But I think your patience is going to be rewarded. If we're going to look at this sort of as a timeline, consider the first 4 weeks to basically be his training camp and preseason. He didn't practice with the team all offseason, stood on the sideline for all of the preseason games, and now he's starting to get back into the swing of things. He's still running a ton of routes, about 87% of the dropbacks he's running a route on, targeted on 20% of his routes. And the Niner offense starting to look a little bit more like we're used to seeing, right? George Kittle is back. Deebo Samuel is back. So that means there's a whole lot of things for Arizona to try and pay attention to. Jordan Mason, obviously the guy kind of running things back there in the backfield. So I think Brandon Aiyuk looks like the Brandon Aiyuk you probably drafted.
And maybe it's the sleeves. People think the sleeves. It doesn't look like he did it anymore. I think the wide receiver one in Week 5 is going to be Jaden Reed. He's got 30 points per game in games where Jordan Love starts. And yeah, Marcus, I agree. It's a small sample size, but it's only going to be Week 5. He's one of 3 wideouts to score 27 points in 2 games this season. And in terms of points per opportunity, he's number 2. He's getting almost 3 points per carry and target. Meanwhile, the Rams have allowed the number 1 wideout in 2 of the last 3 weeks. Now, one of the biggest parts of being one of the best players in Week 5 is going to be actually playing the games, because we've got buys for the first week, and there are some notable teams going on a bye this week. The Chargers, the Eagles, the Lions, who probably just scored a lot of you 1 billion points.